ठीक है, चलिए स्टार्ट कर देते हैं। मैं शुरू से ही बता देता हूँ, ठीक है, एक्सप्लेन कर देता हूँ, क्योंकि मैं इसको बार बार देखने नहीं वाला, इट विल जस्ट वेस्ट आवर टाइम। ओके, तो पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू फिर से बता देता हूँ कि कोहेरेंस, ओके चलो शुरू से शुरू कर देते हैं, बिकॉज जिन लोगों ने इस पॉइंट, मैं इसको एडिट कर दूंगा। ओके, सबसे पहला क्या है ना, ये इस क्वेश्चन को देखते हैं। हमने इस क्वेश्चन को ऑलरेडी कल सॉल्व कर दिया था, तो ये वाली क्वेश्चन अगर आप देखोगे, अगर आप अभी पॉज करके इसको सॉल्व करने की कोशिश करोगे, ऑप्शंस में आपके लिख देता हूँ। सो ए बी सी डी आर दी ऑप्शंस एंड यू हैव टू टिपिकली फाइंड द समरी फॉर दिस वन। ओके, और हमने कल इसको बहुत ही अच्छे से आराम से डिस्कस किया था, तो आज हम इसे नहीं सॉल्व करने वाले, आज हम कुछ और सॉल्व करेंगे और इसका आंसर एक्सप्लेनेशन आपके सामने, आप चाहो तो देख सकते हो। विल लुक इनटू दिस क्वेश्चन विच इज अ ऑड सेंटेंस इन कॉन्टेक्स्ट। अब इन जैसे क्वेश्चंस को करने का बहुत ही बहुत सारे तरीके हैं, डिफरेंट फैकल्टीज, डिफरेंट स्टूडेंट्स हैव सम मेथड्स। टिपिकली मुझे जो चीज़ समझ में आता है, जो मैं करने की कोशिश करता हूँ, वो ये करने की कोशिश करता हूँ कि मैं रियलाइज करता हूँ कि कुछ चीज़ें जो क्वेश्चन में ही कही गई हैं, कि 5 sentences from a topic are given such that they are in a jumbled order. 4 of them, this is very important, 4 of them are coherent, or they form a coherent and unified paragraph, and there is one odd sentence that do not go with the 4. और ये जब हम कहते हैं do not go with the 4, what does this with mean? Logical inconsistency भी हो सकता है ये भी हो कि उस क्वेश्चन का कोई सेंस ही ना बन रहा हो, वो कोई आउटसाइड इंफॉर्मेशन डालने की कोशिश कर रहा हो जो उन चारों से अलग हो। तो इसको एक लाइव एग्जाम्पल के तौर पे लेते हैं, एक सवाल जो हमारे सामने दिया हुआ है इसी को पकड़ लेते हैं और इससे समझने की कोशिश करते हैं। The scholars of the Viennese school who resisted the weight of classical tradition under which these later art forms had been buried were the first to draw conclusions from them concerning the organization of perception at that time. Now first of all, ये पढ़ के ही तो हो सकता है कि कंफ्यूज हो जाओ, मैंने भी जब पहली बार मैं पढ़ा था मुझे कंफ्यूजन हो गया था, तो इसीलिए मैं हमेशा ये चीज़ करता हूँ, और आप लोगों से भी कहूँगा, आप लोगों को भी ये करना है कि only put this much attention, okay? The scholar of the Viennese school, and we are talking about some scholars from some school who resisted something which is basically the weight of classical tradition, under which these later art forms, what are these, we don't know. So maybe something, something precedes this statement also, could be, had been buried, were the first to draw conclusions concerning the organization of perception of time. So organization of time, perception of time, so we know something related to perception of time. So these are your highlighting areas, or you can also call them your keywords. Okay, some books like to mention this thing as keywords. Let's read this one. The manner in which human sense perception is organized. Human sense perception is organized. Okay. The medium in which it is accomplished is determined not only by the nature, but by historical circumstances as well. So we are looking at the human sense perception, how it is organized. It is not just organized through nature, it is also, it could be through historical circumstances also. So one way or the other you can see that there are some links. Okay, so 1 and 2, there are one way or the other they are related. Okay, what about 3? During long periods of history, the mode of human sense perception, again I'm looking at this word, human sense perception, changes with humanity's entire mode of existence. We're talking about some sort of a change that is taking place, all right, in the human sense perception. All right, so this is also, you can say, one way or the other they are related. The uniqueness of the work of art is inseparable from its being embedded in the fabric of tradition. The tradition itself is thoroughly alive and extremely changeable. Now see, one of the important things at this point, it actually took me, I don't know if I should say this, but it took me 10 seconds to answer this question when I was obviously I have to do a pre-read before designing the questions. So it took me 10 seconds to answer this question. And the only reason it took me 10 seconds was this, introduction of this tradition. We started off with something called as a perception of time, the human perception of, human sense perception, how the human sense perception was organized at some point in time, how it evolved maybe. And then suddenly we're talking about tradition. Now, where exactly does this tradition comes from? I don't know. Okay, this is a new idea. Now, if I get any other option that has a tradition into it, I'll be in a bit of a mess. And why do I say that? I say this simply because I know for a fact then those two statements will become a little bit difficult for me to manage. Okay, let's read the last one. The 5th century, with its great shift in population, saw the birth of Roman art industry. Okay, and the Vienna Genesis. So this is something that is important. And these develop not only an art different from that of antiquity, but also a new kind of perception. So if you see, even 5th one has something to do with perception, and main idea for the 5th statement is also perception. All right. So at this point for a fact that 4th one is the odd one out, but there is a tradition in this part, and there is a tradition in the first option also. Now I don't know how the explanation has answered this, but how I would have looked at it is that, is tradition the key word in the first option? Is it the key word in the first option? And if the answer to that is yes, then we are in a bit of a mess. But if we read this carefully, the scholars of the Vienna school who resisted the weight of classical tradition under which this later art form were the first to draw conclusion concerning the organization of perception of time. So again, these scholars were only interested in the organization of perception of time. So even the main idea for the first statement also is not this tradition, which takes the center stage in the 4th option. The entire thing starts revolving around tradition suddenly out of the clear blue in the statement number 4. So with that logic, I can possibly say that 4th one is out of the logical consistency. Now this is how I typically would like to solve these type of problems. Now if you want to see how the test setter has solved this question type, I would rather show you the answer. You can take a screenshot. Okay, I hope you have taken the screenshot. Read it in your free time. I am not gonna even look at the explanation. Not out of I'm not saying that I'll not look at the explanation out of some rude, cocky nature. It's just that it hinders my process of thinking, because right now I'm solving. Once I'm done solving, possibly I'll look back into the options, but while I'm solving, I'll never look into explanations or solving of any sort. All right, so we'll look into this. This is a para jumble, and we'll try and understand how this could have worked. Let's see. Is this okay? So I don't have to read the question type. You guys have already aware of how para jumble question types are formed, but for the ones who just want to see, there are 4 sentences, 1, 2, 3, 4. When properly sequenced, they form a coherent paragraph. What does coherence mean? That the logical links will follow. So basically, if there is something that is getting discussed in option number 4, I should have got an idea about that thing in option number 3. This is how logical ideas flow. So they should always flow in an ascending order and not the other ways around. Okay, let's read ahead. It will make public debate about non-violence even more acrimonious. Okay, it will make. What will make? We don't know. They worry that without a clear and constrained definition of violence, one on which we could get some consensus, our uses of the term are going to lead our moral judgment astray. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me solve it and then explain. Some worry that the idea of violence today has become an unsustainable inflation of concept that renders it incapable of doing the work that it ought to accomplish. Okay, some seem to be skeptical about these criticisms. Now, what are these criticisms? And charge them with political and critical naivety. All right, this is a difficult one. I'm not expecting everybody to get a, even I am not sure if I will get this correct or not. But still, let's try this anyway. Some worry that the idea of violence today has become, so I would say that 3 can be, regarded as a starter. At this point, I am considering 3 as a starter. And because in the 4th statement, they said that, some seem to be skeptical about these criticisms. Now, I need to just find out a criticism, because if I can find out a criticism, then I can typically stick 4 after that. So in third one, if you look at, in the third option, if you see, some worry that the idea of violence today has become unsustainable, become an unsustainable inflation of the concept of time, that it renders it incapable of doing the work it ought to accomplish. Is this a criticism? I don't know if this can be called as a criticism, because see, this is just giving you some context about the idea of violence that has become unsustainable inflation of the concept that in a way or the other renders it incapable of doing the work that it ought to accomplish. Is this a criticism? I don't look at it as a criticism. So where is the criticism? They worry that a clear and constrained definition of violence on which one could get some consensus, our users of the term are going to lead our moral judgments astray. Constrained definition of violence? Okay, so is this the criticism that, without a clear and constrained definition of violence on which one could get some consensus that this is violence, our users of the term are going to lead our moral judgments astray? Could be. So I can say 2, then 4. Now that only leaves me with 1. But there is a problem. If 3 and 1, I always have a problem, because I need to see if 1 fits after 3. I just need to see that. Okay, some worry that the idea of violence today has become an unsustainable incapable of doing the work that it ought to accomplish. It will make public debate about non-violence even more acrimonious. So if you see, this does not make any sense, because the idea of violence that has become unsustainable, so much so that it renders it incapable of doing the work it ought to accomplish. Okay, we are talking everything about violence, and then suddenly we are talking about it will make the public debate about non-violence even more acrimonious. Even if I don't know the meaning of acrimonious, I can still say that at this point 3 and 1, I don't know if there is a there is a smooth flow of logical ideas. So 1 actually does not follow 3, but 2 follows 4. I know that 2 and 4 has to be there. So at this point, if I were in a test setup, I would just do this. Because 1 also, if you look at it now, 1 also, one way or the other, sort of looks like a concluding statement. So for me, I think I would go with 3, 2, 4, 1. I could be wrong. It could be 1, 4, 2, 3 also, in which case I'll have to check this thing. Okay. It will make public debate about non-violence even more acrimonious, because it started off with this it. And what is this? What is it? I don't know. So this basically does not fit for a coherent this thing. I would place my bills on this one only, 3, 2, 4, 1. I could be wrong though. There have been times when I was very, 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 very much confident. 3, 2, 4, 1. Yeah, 3, 2, 4, 1. As I said, you can pause, you can check. If you want to read, you can read. All right. I would like to say that I'm gonna give you guys some time, like a minute, to maybe, because it's a live feed, I'll just give you guys 1 minute. Otherwise, you can just pause and try this out on your own. Till then, let me check if the YouTube feed is all okay. Okay, I think it seems good. No, there is somebody who always likes my every time I upload something, there is one like, and I really want to thank that fellow. If you are listening, I know for a fact you're not listening because there are no concurrent viewers right now, but then I would just like to say thank you. I'll just conclude the video in like 2 minutes. All right, let's delve into the passage, or rather this jumbled this thing. This is again an odd sentence and context type questions. Let's look into it. The jump from section to section, however, caused some readers to wonder if the threads of the poem really constituted one fabric. So we are looking at some sort of a poem. Okay, we are looking at some sort of a poem, and we are also saying that, you know, because the jump from section to section made people wonder about the consistency of the poem. All right. When the wasteland appeared, it was met with excitement. Its promoter had hoped it would accompany it. Okay. So maybe this passage is about the wasteland. It is a poem. Let's see. Woven into one fabric. The main idea, I think, if you ask me at this point, what is the main idea of this statement number 2, or what is the key idea, I can only say that this is just an introductory statement. It has no purpose. Woven into one fabric were quotations. Woven into one fabric were quotations in a number of languages from the great literatures of the world, from pop songs to the music halls. Wow. To add to the complexity and impenetrability of the poem, when it appeared in book form, Eliot added footnotes which are as obscure as the poem itself. So I know for a fact that 1 and 4 definitely has a linkage, because we are talking about the conversion of the poem into a book, and as much as the book was impenetrable, this book was also a little bit problematic. The Wasteland, a poem by T.S. Eliot, combined overwhelming eruditions with common, even debased speech. Combined with overwhelming erudition with common and even. So overwhelming eruditions, I'll only take this much. Okay. Oh wow, okay, wow, this is the odd one. 2 is the odd one. Okay, how do I say that? Okay, this is the odd one. How? See, first one says that it jumps from section to section and cause reader to wonder if the threads of the poem really constituted one fabric. Okay, and then let's read this one. To add to more complexity, impenetrability of the poem, when it appeared in the book form, Eliot added footnotes which are as obscure as the poem itself. So this is also, related to one. And then we are talking about Wasteland as a poem by T.S. Eliot combined the overwhelming eruditions with common and even debased speech. This is also in a way or the other critiquing the poem itself. Okay, the first one is also a critique of the poem. The second, last one, the fifth statement is also a critique. Woven into one fabric were quotations. Woven into one fabric were quotations in a number of languages, from great literatures of the world, from pop songs to the music halls. Woven into one fabric were quotations in a number of languages from the great literatures of the world, from pop songs to the music hall and the music hall. So, not exactly critique, but then also talking something about the poem itself, right? But if you compare this one, when the wasteland appeared, it was met with excitement. Its promoter had hoped it would accompany it. Again, this is some sort of a nostalgic sort of a feeling, and the entire passage could be about the critiquing that poem. Even when it was, designed as a book, even then it was very much complex and impenetrable. So with that logic, I can just say that 2 has to be the one that, my best pick is 2. I don't know, there is a tad bit of, this thing with this third one. Okay, there's a tad bit, this thing. I would have left this. In an exam scenario, because, and if I don't have good number of questions, I would, my best pick would always be 2. Otherwise, I would have left this question, because I'm a little confused between 2 and 3, because both of them are not critiquing, but one is not just critiquing, but just, but then praising it. This one is not critiquing but neutral, but this one is praising. So with that logic, I can say that 2 can be the one that gets eliminated. All right, so let's see the answer. Answer is the number 2. And for the ones who think that, I already have marked the passages, okay, beforehand, and I'm just, doing a farce. I just want to show you that this particular this is a SimCat 2020, this thing. Okay, I just want to show you. I don't know if you can see this thing now. Okay, this is SimCat 1 2020 edition. So this is a very old SimCat. Okay, मतलब not very old, but then कभी किया होगा, उतना याद भी नहीं रहता. तो ये मेरे रिपोजिटरी से मैंने आप लोगों के साथ शेयर किया हुआ है, और वहीं से मैं इनको सॉल्व कर रहा हूँ. ठीक है, चलिए तो एक और देखते हैं. आई थिंक दिस विल बी द लास्ट वन, बिकॉज हमने प्रॉमिस किया था 25 मिनट्स का, और हमने 25 से थोड़ा ज़्यादा हमने कर लिया है. सो sorry, what am I doing? देखो, मैं ना आप लोगों से एक चीज़ कह देता हूँ कि ये मेरे थोड़े इनिशियल लाइव सेशंस हैं, तो थोड़ा इग्नोर कर देना अगर ग्लिचेस वगैरह इधर उधर हो जा रहे हैं तो, क्योंकि मैं इतना यूज टू नहीं हूँ लाइव सेशंस करने के लिए. आई एम यूज टू डूइंग स्टैंड अलोन सेशंस, बट मुझे अभी लगता है कि लाइव ही बेस्ट है. रिकॉर्ड करके अपलोड मैं करूँगा बाद में, अभी नहीं. ओके, पैराजम्बल, लेट्स लुक इनटू दिस वन. Recent observations suggest that birds are able to change the pitch of their song to reduce masking interference, but we lack experimental evidence. However, in many habitats, animals suffer more and more from the signal interference caused by traffic generated from low frequency noise. Acoustic signals are usually very effective in long distance communication. Now, if you see now, 3 has to be my starter statement. Why do I say 3 has to be my starter statement? For a simple reason. This is giving some context, not directly jumping into a conclusion that recent observation and all that, however, is something that I cannot take as a starter. And then theoretically again is, start, jumping into conclusion. So because I cannot jump, I can straight up say that 3 is my starter. Theoretically, some bird species, when confronted with increased level of noise levels, may be able to switch to song types in their repertoire to increase with higher frequencies. Okay, so this is theoretically something that we know, and recent observation suggests that birds are able to change the pitch of their song to reduce the masking interference, but we still lack experimental evidence. Okay, so 2 then 4 for a fact, but if one will come here or one will come here, I have no idea. So I'll have to see if one can be Sorry, I made a mistake. This is going to be 4 and 1. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. It is going to be 4 and 1. So either 2 is gonna be there or 2 is gonna be here. Okay, so this is almost like a PNC problem now. And this is typically how everybody solves. In an exam condition, you will only solve like this only. Oh yeah, see, acoustic signals are usually, so I'll eliminate everything. Acoustic signals are usually high, very effective in long distance communications. However, in many habitats, animals suffer more and more from signal interference caused by traffic generated low frequency noises. So 3 and 2, and then theoretically the birds will come into the picture and recent observation. So I can say 3 can follow 2, and from 2 we will get 4 and 1. This has to be my 3, 2, 4 and 1. Yeah, 3, 2, 4, 1. This is my best pick. Oh, 1 second. What did I say? 3, 2, 4, 1. And they are giving 3, 2, 1, 4. Just a second. 3, 2, 1, 4. So they are giving one recent observation suggests that birds are able to change the pitch of their song to reduce masking interference, but we still lack experiential. I'll keep my, there. Theoretically, some bird species, when confronted with okay, so one thing that this is a difficult one. 2 के बाद कौन सा आ सकता है? मैं बस अब ये चेक कर लेता हूँ कि 2 के बाद 1 आ सकता है. Animal in some habitats suffer more and more because of signal interferences caused by traffic generated low frequency noise. But recent observations suggest that birds are able to change the pitch of their songs to reduce masking interference, but we still lack experiment. हो सकता है, मतलब see, when looking from 2 to 1, it is although a new, so okay, yeah, 3, 2, 1, 4. I'll tell you why. यहाँ पे number 2 is the problem, and number 1 is the solution. Oh, and that is why number 2 and 1. But I thought यार पहले theoretical कुछ प्रेजेंट होना चाहिए, उसके बाद ही आप रिसेंट ऑब्जर्वेशंस में देखोगे ना. पहले आपने ऑब्जर्व किया, फिर आप थियोरेटिकल एविडेंस पे जा रहे हो. मतलब फॉर दैट लॉजिक आई प्लेस्ड 4 and 1. बट देन यहाँ पे आई थिंक इन्होंने वो प्रॉब्लम सोल्यूशन वाली आइडिया लगाई है कि नंबर 2 इज अ प्रॉब्लम एंड नंबर 1 इज द सोल्यूशन, एंड दैट्स एक्चुअली, मुझे भी इसको सोचना चाहिए था. आई शुड हैव आल्सो थॉट. बट ठीक है, मतलब पीजेज में यू हैव टू बी कॉशियस. दीज आर नॉट वेरी, you can read it. I'm leaving it out. You can pause and read. Yeah, देखो यहीं पे बोला भी है, the problem must precede the solution. यही बात है कि वो problem solution analysis है यहाँ पे. The problem must precede the solution. Sentence 4 is a theoretical explanation of the observation made in 1. Thus we are having the mandatory pair as 1, 4. ठीक है, ये इतना चलता है. ये वैसे भी this is a hard hitting area, so I am not I'm not very it's okay. Let's do this one. Okay, so मैं इसको रीड करता हूँ, उसके बाद मैं आपको तरीका बता दूंगा. You can do it. Till the time I am reading it, you also can try. Some believe that we are on the cusp of a new age. The day is coming when practically anything that a human can do, at least anything that the labor market is willing to pay a human being a decent wage to do, will soon be doable more efficiently and cost effectively by some AI driven automated device. If and when the day does come, those who own the means of production will feel ever increasing pressure to discard human workers in favor of an artificially intelligent workforce. They are likely to do so unhesitatingly, as they have always set aside outmoded technology in the past. ठीक है, we have understood. This is not a very dense passage. इसको आराम से निकाल सकते हैं. Let's read the options and try and evaluate the options. When AI evolves to do anything that wage earners could do more efficiently and cost effectively, capitalists will willingly replace human workforce. See, this is going into a different tangent. When AI evolves to do anything that wage earners could do more efficiently and cost effectively, capitalists will willingly replace them. We are not talking about some capitalist and all. We are talking about the labor market. Okay, so this is going into a different tangent, goes out. We may be moving into a new age of artificial AI in which capitalists may replace human labor with more efficient, cheaper robots. Where is it written that we are going to be replaced by robots, and where is it mentioned that capitalists will replace human labor force? Again, I would eliminate this one also. When AI evolves to be more efficient and cost effective, those who own the means of production are likely to replace human workforce with AI. Could be the case, because it is written that when the AI evolves to be more efficient and cost effective than the human labor, then those who own the means of production, and these are the ones, the labor market, will replace. So could be, I'll hold it. So a possible contender, I'll hold this one. Some people entertain the idea, who are those people, that we are on the edge of a new age in which, अच्छा वो पहले से निकाल दिया ना, some people से वो निकाल लिया, some believe. The idea we are on the edge of new age in which the owners of means of production will discard human. Okay, so will discard human labor to artificial, will discard. So we are on the edge of a new age. Edge of a new age, wow. Which owners of the means of will discard human. So see, eventually it will happen. So it is written there, but it is not that we are at the edge of something, and owners of the means of production will not discard them. So yeah, C will be my best pick. Okay, C will be my best pick. Let's see. Yeah, answer number 3 is the answer. Option number 3 rather. Option 3 is the answer. Okay, what is? चलो यही पे रखते हैं. अभी कितने बाकी हैं क्वेश्चंस? लेट्स सी वंस. 4 क्वेश्चन है ना, 31, 32, 33, 34. तो 4 क्वेश्चन मैं बाद में कर दूंगा एक और लाइव पे.